Hi, how are you guys doing today? So, I had a few thoughts that I wanted to share with you about. I've been reflecting on a few topics because of my conversations with some of my friends. A couple of days ago, I had shared a quote that is my favorite quote, and that is something that I had written down trying to glean from my own life experiences and just brought it together in a form of a quote. And you can see that right on screen, isn't it? And I shared it on Facebook, also on Instagram. And many of you resonated with that quote. And it said, if you're not living your life to maximize the limits of your potential, you are betraying the purpose of your life. And so most of you liked it. And one of my dear friend, Vikram Singh, he's from Delhi, he commented a thoughtful comment actually, and he said, scientifically speaking, human life is meaningless. And he made a lot of sense, and I am a big believer of that. Not just believer, but I mean, if you talk about rational thinking, he makes a lot of sense. And in fact, I had written I this is exactly what I agree on. And in fact, I had written an article 4 years ago on this same topic, on the pointlessness of life and why there is no grand purpose to existence. There's no divine purpose to existence. But to make for a fulfilling life, we have to assign meaning and purpose to our life, isn't it? Otherwise, it is a life of drudgery. It's a life of drag. So it's important. It's imperative on our part to assign meaning and purpose to it. And the reason I do not believe that there is any grand scheme or meaning to our lives is because we are all winners of nature's lottery, isn't it? The very fact that I was the lucky one of, they say, around 90 million sperms that fertilized my mother's eggs. Out of 90 million, I was the chosen one. So that already makes me rare. And this one thing brings a lot of meaning to my life. And the urge is to make the most of this one life if I have won this nature's lottery. So if I'm that rare one, that one out of 90 million chances, should I be frittering my life away by not trying to become what all I could become? So this has been a result of last few years of contemplation that I should become what all I could become. I should explore the limits of my potential before I die. Because what happens is living meaningless life is often a recipe for, I've often said this, it's a recipe for quiet desperation. And my own purpose that I assign to life is to maximize the limits of my potential, so that when I'm dying, I do not want to die with the burden of unfulfilled potential. I want to feel that I could, or at least I tried to become everything that I could possibly become. So the other day I made another short video. So I'll just repeat that. I was reading a book by Martin Seligman, and the book's title is Learned Optimism. In fact, I was sharing about this book glowingly to my sister. I said, I'm going to send you this book. You must all read this book. It's a great book. It's called Learned Optimism. And in the first chapter, Martin shared something that caught my attention and imagination. And he said there are three kinds of happiness one can pursue in life. So, number one is chasing happiness for a pleasant life. Okay. It says you aim to have as much positive emotion as possible. Let me just pull that up. Yeah. So, number one is chasing happiness for a pleasant life. It says you aim to have as much positive emotion as possible and learn the skills to amplify those positive emotions. So if this is your attitude to life, then you are chasing a pleasant life. Okay, this is your happiness to chase a pleasant life. So what does it do? You just aim to have as much positive emotion as possible and learn the skills to amplify those positive emotions. Number two is chasing happiness for an engaged life. So, what happens here? In engaged life, you identify your highest strengths and talents and recraft your life to use them as much as you can in love, in life, in friendship, in parenting, and in leisure. So if you are leading this kind of life, then that is an engaged life. Okay, so that's how you derive your happiness, because what you are doing, you're bringing your strengths and talents, and recrafting your life so that you use these strengths and talents. And this is also very important, isn't it? If you're not bringing your strengths and talents and living, then it's not an engaged life. I really liked it. The third one is chasing happiness for a meaningful life. This is the highest one. Here you use your highest strengths and talents to belong to and serve something you believe is larger than the self. So that means it's not just pursuing your ambitions, but you're actually bringing your strengths and bringing your talents for for a purpose that is beyond or bigger than just yours. So I just love the three types to live life framework and find meaning. And I just could not stop myself from sharing. I shared a very short video just on explaining these three, but it was quite timely for me that I got another framework on how to assign meaning to your life. As I said, we do not have any inherent meaning and purpose to life. Okay, we are just by sheer accident we are on this earth, and it is for each of us to find out our own meaning and purpose. And but as I said, the one that I live, I try to live the framework that I have, the philosophy of life that I have, and the purpose that I get from my life is to maximize the limits of my potential, so that when I die, I don't die with the burden of unfulfilled potential. Thank you.